Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 4 of Black Girl Freedom Week. Black Girl Freedom Week is hosted by the 1 Billion for Black Girls campaign and Black Girl Freedom Fund, an initiative of grantmakers for girls of color. This week showcases what is possible when we abundantly invest in the dreams, power, joy, leadership, and liberation of Black girls and Black gender-expansive young people to work together to co-create a future where they are safe, free, and thriving. Yesterday, we listened to the transformative conversation, Reproductive Justice or Nothing, guiding us through a Black feminist framework in the fight for bodily autonomy. A highlight for me was when speaker Pony White named that the world will adjust for today's generation. They said the world adjusted for the last few generations, and I don't see people hunting and gathering. Today, I'm joined live with ASL interpreter Sharon Pierre Lewis, and we will be graced by interpreter Andrea Lust during our upcoming sessions. These sessions will be recorded, so if you want to show your mom, your grandma, your girlfriend, if you miss any of this week's programming, you can play it back at G4GC's YouTube channel or at the 1 Billion for Black Girls website. That's 1billionforblackgirls.org. We will also be giving away a prize today. If you haven't already registered, please click the link in the video description or for a chance to win today's giveaway. And just to make sure you're not a robot, please type the word justice in the chat. Here comes the good part. Coming up on today's broadcast, we will start you off with the conversation, Affirmative Action, Justice in Schools, with Naya Kenny and Ashley Sawyer. The conversation centers how students experience justice in schools when impacted by legislation like Title IX and beyond. This will be closely followed by a poem, Love Letter to Black Girls, by Fatima Goss Graves. Enjoy, everyone.
Hello, my name is Ashley Sawyer. I use she and her pronouns, and I'm really fortunate to be in conversation with my comrade and friend, Naya Kenny. And I'm going to kick us off for our conversation for Black Girl Freedom Week. And Naya, if you want to just introduce yourself really quickly, just where you're from, what you're representing, and we'll get started.
My name is Naya Kenny. I am currently living in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a part-time youth program coordinator for Every Black Girl, Inc., based in South Carolina. Yeah.
Sounds good. I guess it's worth mentioning, I'm an attorney. I work at a nonprofit called Advancement Project. We're based in Washington, D.C. I've been working in this space for almost 10 years now, specifically thinking about the intersections of youth criminalization and education justice. And really what I care a lot about is making sure that Black girls and gender expansive young people and queer and trans young people can feel free and loved and cared for in their learning environments. And I want to dismantle the prison industrial complex and the ways that Black people and marginalized people are punished in our culture, and really like thinking about those conversations about what's the work that we can be doing, whether you're in school, out of school, a parent, a teacher, a community member, like what should we all be doing to make sure that young people are being cared for and make sure that we're supporting, I think, the organizing that's happening to build liberatory schools and justice for young people. So I figured, Naya, you and I can just talk about that. Our friend Dina couldn't make it, but Dina is representing the In Our Names Network, and they put together some really important and powerful research last year about school police sexual violence. And so we'll talk a little bit about that and that, you know, that issue of school policing. But yeah, let's just get started and, think together about what it is that everybody who's listening can be doing and what it is that we want to dream about, what our experiences are, and what maybe people can learn from our expertise and our experiences. So let's just kind of take it from the top, Naya. What makes activism important to you or organizing important to you? And like, why are you in this fight? Why are you doing this work?
For me, I was thrust into the fight after being arrested and experiencing my own experience, just not feeling safe in schools in 2015. I just felt like, speaking up, it brings awareness to these issues. This is what makes the positive impact. Us just continuing to be a yes, and also just showing the youth who I've mentored along the way, that raising my voice and taking action. We really can be the change that we want to see in this world. So that's just kind of been like my continued push, you know.
I appreciate that, Naya. I think about you so much in terms of someone who is like just brave.
Oh,
Because you said you were thrust into this work, but you made a choice, right? Like you made a choice to do the right thing. You made a choice to speak up when you saw something happening that you knew was wrong. And you made a choice to be brave in the face of state violence. So, you were that incident was put onto you. You didn't choose that incident, obviously, but also you and I, we might see this differently, but I think of you as someone who made a choice to be brave, and I admire that. And I want more of that bravery inside of me to speak up in the moment. So I
no,
just want to
it's
shout
easy
you
though.
out for that.
Oh,
And
thank you so much.
and that you've continued this work. No, but it's for real. But like, and you've continued this work for years now, continuing to speak up, continuing to like serve this movement and serve the work by telling your story. So I don't know. I just want to say thank you for that. I feel
You,
like this is a good
thank you,
opportunity to do that.
thank you, thank you.
Of course, of course.
Yes.
So I could probably answer the same question as like, why am I here? I grew up in northern New Jersey. I had access to actually really good public schools that were relatively racially diverse, depending on what age group. And one of the things that I can think about is the way that even in diverse school settings, Black children especially are told to be seen and not heard,
Mm,
and told, if you're going to be successful as society measures it, meaning graduating, going to college, etc., you kind of have to conform to white supremacist ideas about how you
right,
should show up. And I also saw how people that I love and in my own family got punished for not adhering to those white supremacist ideals about what does it mean to be a good student. And really, I also just think about just Black girls that I grew up with who, when something wasn't right, were going to be like, oh no, you're not about to play with
right.
me. And how
Exactly.
that leadership is just punished all the time when Black girls say, whether it's something as small as like, you said this wasn't due until Friday and now you're trying to collect it 2 days early, or something as significant as like, you will not treat, my colleagues or my siblings this way.
Right.
Black girls in particular, try to speak up for their peers, get punished all the time for just saying, no, you won't take advantage of me, or no, this isn't fair, or this policy should be changed. And
Exactly. And then it's like,
yeah,
how dare you, young Black girl, challenge me? And that's what it always is for me. Like, how dare me? How dare you?
mm, it's about power sometimes. I also think, like, I think that schools really focus in on like keeping power at the top, whether it's the teacher or the administrator, and telling young people, stay in your place. And of course, there's a racial component to that too, about like teaching young people to stay in their space, can't stay in their place. And when young people try to live their lives and just be themselves, express their gender, or just share their ideas, police and policing is used to punish them and to clamp down. And I can say that even when I was practicing law in New York, just doing civil litigation work and mitigation for young people, mostly Black students, who were getting put onto Rikers and put into jail for things that originated with their schools. Their schools were trying to punish them for maybe the trauma that they've experienced, how they were showing up. So
Right.
yeah, that's what brings me to the work. I'm glad that we feel aligned around that. If we, based off like kind of where we're already going in this direction, but when you think about like principals, educators, school district leaders, what do we want them to be doing? I feel like we can just talk about this. What do we want them to be doing so that school can be a safe space for Black girls and for Black gender expansive young people?
Honestly, like just because I've been out of schools for almost 10 years, when I went over this question, I had to kind of go back to my 15-year-old sister who's still in the system, and just like, what can community members, and ask her this question. And her thing was sensitivity, diversity, inclusive trainings for teachers, and her words were, we want policies to ensure that those in positions of power and authority are equipped to, she said handle, but to nurture our students, to take care of us, to that's what it was for that. I'm speaking from the youth perspective there.
I appreciate that. She said nurture, and I'm trying to think about what does that mean in a school context. I don't even know that I could really envision that because I
Right.
feel like the way school is structured now, at least when I was there and when I had clients or young people that I worked with who were in school, there was a lot of emphasis on going through a metal detector first thing in the morning, on having to answer questions from school administrators about why you're wearing what you're wearing, young people feeling like they couldn't make mistakes. So I'm just really thinking about like, what would nurturing even look like? How can you be nurtured in a place where you're like always being having to be careful, maybe walk on eggshells so that you don't get tasered or beat up or suspended by a school cop? I don't know. Like I'm trying to imagine it. I don't know what you think, Diane.
Um, I guess like allowing them the freedom and space to exist as they are in schools. Like you said, the biggest one for my little sister and her friends were the being policed about what they're wearing, the sexualization of their bodies. They can't help that they're curvy young ladies, and they're always finding themselves in trouble for it. So she just feels like they should just be provided the space, the access, the ability to, to move and do, not do as they please in high school, but be them.
Yeah, be themselves. That's so powerful. I feel like I talk to young people in other cities through my work who are in, whether they're in Nashville, whether they're like wherever they are, they talk a lot about this piece about being sexualized in school,
Mm.
whether it's like you have a curvy body, the shirt you're wearing is considered too tight, the
Right.
leggings, whatever, and it's a lot of people saying, people, and I mean like principals and teachers and school cops saying like, you need to cover up so that
Hmm.
we don't feel uncomfortable, we meaning the adults. And I really think there's some undoing that has to happen. The adults have to ask themselves, why does this young person wearing whatever it is that she can afford to wear, whatever she's comfortable wearing, why does
Right.
that make me have a reaction? And a lot of the
Right.
adults just don't want to do that emotional work or
Mm.
whatever that is. I don't know.
Right.
So it's interesting, but yeah, I'm trying to think about what else nurturing could look like and safety could look like. And I think one of the things that comes to mind is like restorative justice also. So that like when a young person makes a mistake or when a group of girls are in a conflict with each other and they're fighting with each other, that there is a space for that to be a learning experience versus that being a space for like a trap door into criminalization.
Right.
And like people who nurture me are like, Ashley, you're dead wrong. You cannot do this. And we love you. Here's an opportunity to correct it. Or here's what I would like to see you do differently. Or here's how you can navigate that better versus, but I think with young people, especially with Black girls, people act like they're supposed to just know everything and have it all figured out and be adults. Yeah, I'm really grateful for your sister sharing that with you.
No, thank you so much. That was super powerful.
I think what your sister shared is really powerful, like the way that you and her have that conversation. And you said that she talks about it with her like her other friends from school, and I love like that they're connecting with each other and supporting each other.
Oh
I
my
wish
God.
schools made more space for that. Yeah,
I'm raising an organizer, y'all.
you are. You are. Yeah. I really appreciate that you're like investing in her and pouring in her like that. I want to talk maybe a little bit about schools as places of democracy where young people learn what it means to have power and share power and make decisions. And yeah, like what are the ways that we can make schools places of democracy if you have thoughts or places where young people feel like their voices could be heard?
I absolutely think it's crucial to create like an inclusive and safe environment for Black girls when we talk about, safety, Black girls and safety and democracy. We absolutely have to actively listen to and uplift their perspectives and experiences of Black girls and gender expansive youth in political discussion. Whether they be like education and awareness, we want to promote education. We want to encourage these young Black girls to run for these leadership positions and really hold them accountable once they're in these positions.
I appreciate that. Like, so you're thinking like school governance, like school government, like Black girls should be able to take a role of that. And I also think about that as like young people should have like real power. Like if the school has money that needs to be decided about, young people should be a part of the process of deciding how that money will be spent.
Exactly.
And then that in my mind would help young people feel connected to their school. Like if they know that they're getting to help make decisions, that's a powerful way to reframe what school can look like and a learning experience.
Exactly.
I want to think more about safety just generally. Like, what does safety mean? Like, if you had to imagine what safety could look like for you, what safety would have looked like for you, and what safety maybe should look like. I don't know. Maybe we can think about that together.
Rest without anxiety. Honestly, like, seriously, that's my number one thing, rest without anxiety. But I guess again, like the freedom to exist as we are, show up as I am, without being punished. I want to be as loud as I can. Safety is the access and ability and the time to do and move as we desire. And not only in schools, but in the world.
Right. To move as we desire. I really appreciate that. Like not being surveilled, not being judged or criticized, not being physically harmed.
Not feeling like we have to go through despair before deserving. That's huge to me too.
You said like rest without anxiety. And I'm like, I don't even know what that looks like, honestly.
Oh my God. Rest without anxiety is like me being able to rest and, I'm not feeling like, okay, I have to get back up. And for some people, it's like, be a mother, be out here and, just being able to rest after being a Black woman in this world all day.
Yeah. And I feel like young people need that rest just as much as adults, as us adults.
Absolutely.
And a lot of Black girls, I don't know if this is a thing that you want to speak about, but I feel like a lot of Black girls also take on adult responsibilities, like helping pick up their younger sibling from school, drop them off at school, helping to make food at the house, doing, washing clothes, all of the adult things. A lot of Black girls, especially, I don't know, I have like eldest sibling trauma, but like a lot of Black girls have to do a lot. And then you come to school and somebody's yelling at you for being a little bit late or being tired. That's hard.
The job that don't forget to speak on having a job at 15, 16, and now I'm helping pay bills and and now I'm late to school and because I had to work late last night.
Exactly. That part is so real. Like a lot of people don't realize that a lot of young people, particularly young Black girls, have on additional jobs, and it's not just for like fun money. It's because their family needs them to help out.
Absolutely. I was a younger sibling now. I can't even, I got 4 older sisters.
Yeah.
So I was pretty taken care of, but I definitely see that in my 15-year-old sister is like having to kind of take on that extra role as not adult, but like nurturer in the house and stuff.
And you said that makes so much sense. You said, you come to school, you might be a little bit late. What would you want? Like if a young person has to be a little bit late, or if they're just really tired, like what could we be asking principals to do or teachers to do to like accommodate that?
For me, maybe like a mediation, why are you late? Is there anything that we can support you with? uh, I was just always I don't want to say attacked, but like attacked with detention hours. And then I'm not serving these hours because I have to work after school. So I'm not going to detention. So now I'm suspended from school. Now I'm missing school. It was just like this never ending cycle. So I would have appreciated some mediation or just a little bit, okay, well, you'll have to go to tutoring here, like just the other forms of support other than essentially putting me out of school for a few days.
I feel like that's universal now. Like I hear so many other people saying the same thing that you're saying. Like the response when a young person is going through something is punishment. You're suspended, you have detention, instead of, you said, ask you a question of like, what could we be doing to support? And really mean, like,
Right.
what would it look like if your school was really like, is there a way for us to help take on some of your responsibilities? Can we really figure this out for you and help you figure it out without necessarily being your family's business, without calling child protective services, but
Right.
really making space for people to be nurtured and cared for and have their needs met? And
Right.
that takes money, but schools don't seem to want to spend the money on the caring stuff, but they're quick to spend the money on the metal detectors, the surveillance technology, the cops. It's so frustrating. But yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that, Naya. The like having to do a job and having to need more time to come to school and like the flexibility. And I feel like schools don't necessarily afford that to young people, at least the young people that I've worked with.
Right.
They've never told me about, feeling like people would make space for them or that they had a space that they could just talk to somebody and get help
Right.
without it meaning child protective services come into their home and something becoming worse than what it was before.
Right.
I really want that for all of us and for like Black girls. But the rest without anxiety, I'm going to keep thinking about that rest without anxiety. I think sometimes people think that young people don't deserve rest or
Mhm.
don't need it yet. And it sounds like you're saying from your sister and from you, like you needed it. You needed rest. And
Without like and it was more so from like my parents, my mom. It was like, no, get up, y'all need to be doing something, working, being productive. I'm just like, oh, we can't just rest. Like I've done I gave all I had to give today.
yeah, and making space for that. And I don't know if this is your experience, and you certainly don't need to talk about it, but I feel like for some young people, they're also tired because like of the mental load of school, the mental load of the world. And like schools don't make a lot of space for like mental and emotional wellness unless it's like somebody asking you a bunch of prying questions, but
Right.
really making space for the types of practices that allow people to feel rested. I only feel like I've seen that in like very elite private schools where there's
Right.
like a restroom, a meditation space, or like you can get up and get a glass of water or get up and take a walk
Quiet
and no,
area.
right, exactly. And I feel like schools where it's mostly like Black and brown students, if they get up and walk to the door to throw something out, it's like, you know, punishment immediately.
Serving schools.
Exactly. No, for real. It's like you're disturbing school just for doing the things that you need to do, like walking to the
Mhm.
restroom or, drinking from your water bottle.
Right.
I want to shift a little bit. Dr. Monique Cluson, the CEO of Grantmakers for Girls of Color, and also obviously the author of Push Out and a lot of scholarship about the experiences of Black girls in school. Shout out to Monique. She talks about schools being sites of healing and liberation for Black girls and gender expansive youth. We've talked a little bit about what safety means. Like I've heard you say rest. I've heard us talk about like nurturing and healing a little bit. What would it look like for schools to be places of liberation? Like how could we make schools places where young people can get free?
Mm. My biggest thing is always going to be the dress codes. Let them go. Let them go. Let not even only Black girls, but Black youth, allow them the freedom to express themselves. As many crazy hairstyles, piercings, just that's how kids express themselves these days through their fashion, through
Mm.
their, you know, music, I guess. You know, that's liberation in schools to me, allowing a student to show up as they are. No tone policing. Even if I'm here today, we tone police even when we quiet. You know.
That's so real. You said tone police. For the people who don't know, can you talk to us about what tone policing means? Because this is deep and it's so important for people to get this.
I'm so horrible at explaining. Tone policing is when I guess I'll just speak on like even when I'm silent at work, and I'm automatically deemed that I have an attitude or I'm having a bad day. I'm just not allowed to just be quiet or just be to myself. I'm not allowed to be going through something mentally. It's always an attitude there.
Hmm. I appreciate that. Like, yeah, when I think the same thing about tone policing. Like, with Black women, particularly Black girls and queer and trans young people, it's always like people trying to read you, and if you're
Right,
quiet, they're
right,
like reading into what that means. And instead of just giving you space to just be, and if they have a real important question, you can ask the question, but don't make assumptions about what my
right,
facial expression means or does not mean.
right.
Um, and it's so interesting because that definitely happens to young people in schools too.
hmm
Like,
Even
because
adults in the workplace, I experience that, now
yeah,
very often.
you said tone policing, and it also made me think about the young people in Binghamton, New York, some years ago, like back in 2019, this group of middle school young people, like Black girls, got in trouble or strip searched for like giggling, and they were accused of using drugs, and that's why they were supposed to be so giggly. And I think about all of these incidents where like Black girls and queer and trans young people, if you laugh too much, people are suspicious of you. People think you're not taking it seriously. If you're serious, people are suspicious of you. It's like, where can you go to just be free?
To just be. And you would think it's school.
You would think. But I really appreciate what you said, Naya, about like the dress code stuff. The dress code stuff is so I think insidious because it really is a way for schools to tell young people that even the things that you put onto your physical body are not yours to choose. Like,
Oh,
we tell you what to read, we tell you what to eat, we tell you what you can put on your body or not put on your body. We can tell you how you do your hair, whether you can have locks or not have locks, whether you can have a fro, whether your hair can be purple. Like, and that to me sounds like jail. And it also sounds like it sets young people up to feel like there always is a trap door for you to get in trouble. You could
mm,
just be minding your business, doing your very best. But if you have a curvy body, or if you're wearing tight leggings, or if you're queer or you're trans and you're not presenting in the way that the adults think that you should look,
mm,
the example I always think about is like
that's
trans.
major.
But I just think about like trans girls who wear acrylic nails getting in trouble, or like Black, girls who have bobby pins in their hair getting in trouble with the metal detector. I
Yeah.
heard you, Naya, say, just get rid of them. Get rid of
Just
them.
please get rid of them. It's like,
If, now that we're
what?
adults and you and I are a little bit removed from schools, why do you think some adults feel so attached to those policies? Like, feel so attached to dress codes and punishment? Like, why are some of our adult friends like into that?
That's literally a question that I have, and I don't know how to answer. Why are you guys so attached to these policies that, are clearly physically, mentally, emotionally like breaking kids down? It's, disconnecting them from us.
No, I think it's some adults are afraid. Some, like, I think about Black adults think that if you teach Black girls to follow the rules, you'll maybe protect them
Hmm.
in the workplace in the future. And
Mm.
I think we just talked about it, like in some situations for Black people and for young people, you can't win for losing. You're in trouble if you smile too much, you're in trouble if you don't smile. So maybe if we realize it's not about how we dress or how we look, and it's
Right.
about the systems that we're working under or
Hmm.
living in, maybe if we let go of that fear, we could show up better for young people.
I think that was really important when you touched on kind of preparing Black girls for the workspace, you know, because we see that a lot. Like, well, you won't be able to speak to a manager like that. And I used to hear that all the time in school.
Mm. Who did you hear that coming from? Like, who was saying that?
a teacher would say that if it was like any type of back. I'm not saying that I was the perfect student. I will never sit on one of these panels and say that I was just the most studious, perfect student. No, I had a mouthpiece on me, and so it would just always be like, oh, well, you can't talk. No, you think you're going to talk to a manager that way? You're lose your job, failure at life, accused of being a failure just for speaking back.
I appreciate you saying that. And I'm sorry that those folks said that to you. Clearly, you're not a failure. Clearly, you're winning at life. I mean, yeah, I'm just so grateful for you and I'm grateful for this conversation. Yeah, just I'm so I feel indebted to you for the way that you like shook up
No.
the space. No, for real, Naya, you shook things up and you saw something happening that you knew was wrong. You didn't let fear get the best of you and you shook things up. And like really, I think the folks at AJ and Advancement Project all credit you with being one of the people who like made a shift in the movement. And I'm so grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you doing this conversation. And
I'm
I'm looking
grateful
forward.
for all of y'all for continuing to have me be a part of this conversation because like I said, I don't work directly with an org to be able to, just be like a continued yes to you guys. So when people think of me, like shout out Sidra, met her when I lived in New York in like 2018, 17, and she thought of me all these years later to come and have me be a part of this conversation. So that just really means so much to me and it makes me want to keep being the yes and keep showing students like, this is how we make that positive impact. This is how we be the change that we want to see, and it's not stupid. Don't let nobody tell you that speaking up is lame or corny. I really do appreciate y'all for just always keeping me in mind, always being so supportive. I'm indebted to y'all. I wouldn't even know what organizing was if it wasn't for like AJ, Advancement Project, y'all.
I appreciate you saying that. Honestly, I learned so much about organizing from the people in this movement space, whether it's Advancement Project, Alliance for Education Justice, the National Campaign for Police Free Schools. I learned so much from the folks in the space. And I heard you say, like, keep being a yes. And like you choosing to keep being a yes. And I guess that's the work for all of us is to be a yes, be like committed to doing what we need to do, like for us adults who are watching and engaging in this work during Black Girl Freedom Week, saying like, what am I doing to show up well for Black girls? What am I doing to make schools healing or liberatory? Or what am I doing that's not making schools healing or liberatory? And what are the steps I should be taking to adjust, to adapt, to let go of the dress codes, to get the police out of the schools, to move away from the things that are making it so that young people can't participate. What is the work that we should all be doing? So I just appreciate you being a yes.
This is
Say it again.
it. This is it. I'm over here. Look, I'm like, I got a little emotional just now because I have my days where I'm just like, like, nah, you aren't doing enough. You aren't being a yes. You aren't doing his work. But then I'm sitting here realizing like this is your continued advocacy right here. This is how you show up in this world.
I appreciate it. I see you. I mean, all of the folks who are in this space, like we all have work that we can be doing. And like, I always want to point people to organizing because that's so critical. And you've been tapped into the organizing and like you shifted so much of the movement. And I'm so
Organizing
grateful.
tapped into me.
Okay. And it shifts us, it changes us. And I miss some of the organizing that I got to be a part of at Girls for Gender Equity. And I just want all of us to be thinking about how do we plug into the organizing so that young people are shaping the work. And so all of the things that you and I just kind of dreamed up and talked about in terms of nurturing and safety, who's organizing in your local city to make that a reality, and how can you support that organizing? I guess that would be the takeaway I would want to give everybody from this conversation. Naya, is there anything that you want everybody to take away?
Rest without anxiety. Rest. I don't know. I know I'm taking away a full heart. I don't know. I can't think of anything right.
That's all good. I think I'm all done. Thank you.
Of course. No, thank you for making this conversation so a conversation and not making it so formal.
I appreciate you. I feel so grateful for you guys. Thank you.
Oh,
I'm Fatima Goss-Graves with the National Women's Law Center. And my love letter to Black girls, well, it is a celebration of your smarts and your talents when adults find a way to support rather than squash your dreams. It's a celebration of your beauty when you are free to wear your hair, to sport your style, and when adults find a way to support rather than squash your dreams. And it is a celebration of your power and a giant commitment to support, not squash your dreams.
Welcome back. That was a delicious conversation. So y'all better keep chewing on it. I want to hold that reminder to rest without anxiety, what that means under white supremacist systems to nurture ourselves and our loved ones. That could look like Black girls owning their power as decision makers in schools to address and change the policing and surveillance they experience. That could look like Black trans girls wearing acrylic nails in protest to the growing anti-trans legislation that further targets our collective bodily autonomy in this country. Big, big love to Naya and Ashley for their wisdom today. Before we head to our last segment of the day, I am leaving a reminder to our audience that you can still register for today's giveaway item using the link in the chat. It's gonna be good. Our next segment digs deeper into the important work of grassroots groups creating better climate solutions for the communities most impacted. And it's perfect timing as next week is Black Climate Week. This is responding to the climate crisis with the Solution Project.
What if I told you the solutions to the climate crisis exist in frontline communities all across the United States? That we can save 100,000 lives from air pollution every year and create more than 9 million good jobs, growing climate solutions from the ground up. The Solutions Project believes we must invest in the ideas of everyday heroes from the communities most impacted by climate change. Their solutions make our lives better and create a fairer, healthier, and more equitable society. Look at the example of frontline communities leading the push for 100% renewable energy, which is now replacing cancer-causing sources like coal, oil, and gas. A total transition of our electricity to renewables is now law in half the country because of grassroots organizing and advocacy. Being closest to the problems, Black, Indigenous, immigrant, and other frontline communities, especially women, know what solutions are needed. They are innovative and effective. They train workers for green jobs, practice regenerative farming, build affordable housing and community solar. They coordinate disaster response. They create solutions that have a far-reaching and long-lasting impact, driving investments and policies benefiting millions of people. The Solutions Project exists to exponentially fund these grassroots groups and amplify their climate solutions. Consider Arizona-based grantee Native Renewables, led by a team of Navajo women with an incredible range of expertise from engineering to construction to ancestral wisdom. They have developed and now install solar energy and battery systems for Navajo and Hopi families without electricity. They are replacing diesel generators with off-grid solar systems in 15,000 homes. And they are training tribal members as solar technicians, bringing clean, affordable electricity to homes miles from the nearest power line or paved road.
Native Renewables would not exist without the Solutions Project. They were there from the very beginning and have continued to stay with us in building out our capacity as a team. And I believe will be there for us in the future as we scale our solutions to providing solar for thousands of Navajo, Diné, and Hopi homes.
All of the organizations we support transform systems and improve lives in their communities. Push Buffalo builds affordable housing, creates jobs, and employs neighbors in a green economy. They are changing policies to bring the benefits of these community solutions to more people across the state of New York. New Alpha Community Development Corporation in Florence, South Carolina installed hydro panels, cutting-edge solar power technology that creates safe drinking water from the air. Their Environmental Justice Training Center was featured on Good Morning America with our support. Shamika Nichols of the organization Solidarity, based in Detroit, spoke to the Today Show about her community's work installing solar streetlights after a private utility removed the lights in their neighborhood. In addition to grant and communication support for Solidarity, the Solutions Project worked with partners in the music industry to raise another $300,000 for more solar streetlights. The Solutions Project and the collaborative funds we manage support over 300 grassroots groups, building power and creating bold, practical climate solutions. Decision makers have taken notice, realizing frontline leaders are crucial to making change. But only a tiny percentage of climate philanthropy, media coverage, and public funding goes to frontline communities where it can make the biggest difference. The Solutions Project has the trust and the experience to bridge this gap. We've raised and invested more than $50 million in grassroots climate solutions. We have secured thousands of news stories that increase our partners' public influence, educating and inspiring more people to join this force for change. Our approach works, but the problem persists. 64 million people suffer from pollution and 3 million are displaced by climate disasters in the US each year. Communities of color and women bear the greatest burden and can therefore offer the clearest vision for action. Each of us has a part to play to scale community solutions, shift culture, and drive change. Your donation makes it possible for more frontline communities to advance equitable climate solutions. Together, we can and we will create the future we want and everyone deserves.
So one thing about me is I get excited by the words regenerative and farming together when talking about the future, which really brings us to uplifting the work of marginalized communities most impacted by the climate crisis. It is a reminder that environmental justice is intersectional. We need to be calling it Black girl environmental justice. Big shout out to the Solutions Project for funding the work that impact us wholly as communities connected to land. Now, let me leave y'all with a quick review of the day. A, listening to Black girls and Black gender expansive youth holds solutions for racial justice and bodily autonomy in schools and beyond. And B, they also hold deeper solutions to land sovereignty movements, which are tied to the global climate catastrophe, historically fueled by settler colonialism and white supremacy, impacting the most vulnerable, Black and Indigenous folks, girls and gender expansive youth here on Turtle Island, but also in Sudan and Palestine, the Congo, and around the world. I hope our viewers are taking home with them a deeper knowledge today of how Black girls and gender expansive youth can make earth-shattering changes everywhere. Big love and gratitude to our ASL interpreters, Andrea and Sharon. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Cedra, and thanks to the magnificent Black girls, young people, and women who have made this week magical. Before we go, I just want to announce the giveaway winner. It is Janae from Columbia, South Carolina. Big love, Janae, and big love, everybody.